Good afternoon, CFM. This is Coach Matt with our Wednesday workout. We're gonna hit our deadlifts today, and then we have a non-timed leg finisher that should be quite spicy. All right, let's get into the warm-up. We're gonna go 2 rounds through, row 200 meters, and we're gonna get 8 reps of my bench T-spine open. We're gonna do the 2-arm version this time. So think elbows and hands at about the same width, at about shoulder width, and I wanna grab the PVC pipe tightly so that my hands can't slip, all right? And keeping my hands apart is what will make this stretch a little bit more effective. Working my way backward and then try to drop my head down through my arms, and then I'm flexing like I'm doing a bicep curl and then extending, flexing and extending like so, okay? And that is our bench T-spine opener, 8 reps of that. Half kneeling kettlebell windmill. Windmill is to stretch out the hips and the groin. So we're gonna get into this half kneeling position, or the bottom of the lunge, the kettlebell up high, and now I'm gonna try to kick my hips laterally, right? I wanna punch my hips to the side as I do this and try to plant that hand and then squeeze and back to vertical. Plant that hand, squeeze and back to vertical. And if you notice, where else does this movement occur? This is a piece of the Turkish get up, right? Because when we have limitations in the mobility of the hips, instead of going to the side, people will sit backwards like this, and that is a limitation in the inner groin fascia and the muscle and the tendon and stuff that's all in there. So we're intentionally practicing that stretch. So if you can't touch the ground, that's okay, but just try to get that inner hip stretch on that movement. Seated hip swivels is next. So on the ground, knees at 90, bottom of the foot, top of the knee, and we're switching positions back and forth. The further forward you lean on this, the more of a stretch you'll get out of it. And then the last one for the warm-up is our scap row on the rings. So I've got a pair of rings, bottom of the ring row position, and I'm just shrugging back and down, shrugging back and down. Important thing on the scap row from the rings is I don't want to be shrugging up with it. I want to be shrugging down, right? And that really encourages the lats to wake up, which is an important part for the deadlifts, for stability of the spine and the shoulders when we lift, all right? So after you hit the warm up, we're going into deadlifts. 2 more weeks till deadlift max out. And again, that is spaced out 3 weeks from our normal testing week. And deadlifts, we're on 5s now. Next week we'll be on 3s and 2s. The week after that we'll be on our heavy singles. So this is our conventional deadlift from the floor up to the hips and back to the floor. We should tap the weights to the ground in control every time. 5 sets of 5, weights going up until the last set should be about a 5 rep max, all right? When we finish with our deadlifts, we can keep the bar out, but the weight will go way, way down. We're gonna do good mornings with the bar when we're done. The bench that you use for your T-spine opener, we're now going to use for our Bulgarian split squat, and the movement or the workout is based around the front squat, okay? So we can have our bar, sorry, I had this set up for bench. My bar is at shoulder height. I'm gonna start with my hands in front of me, dip down just a little bit, walk in till it touches my throat, elbows way out front so the bar is resting on top of my shoulders, and I'm doing a set of 8 front squats. All right, as soon as I finish those 8 front squats, I'm walking it back into the rack, and then I'm gonna do the rest of my giant set. So I don't call it a superset, because a superset is usually one movement. We call this a giant set or a circuit. But I'll have a weight, Bulgarian split squat. I would like to have the majority of the weight on my front leg, the leg that's not touching the floor. The other one is high up on the bench, and it's just for balance, all right? So I'm pressing straight up and dropping back and down, pressing up, dropping back and down, okay? So make sure on the Bulgarian split squat should be the majority of the movement is done by the glutes and the hamstrings. When you finish that, we can go back to our bar for good mornings. And if the discrepancy between the weight of your good morning and the weight of your front squat is significant, then feel free to use a second bar or team up with somebody else and do a little bit lighter, right? But the good mornings should be relatively heavy, relatively challenging. And then the last one is dead bugs. and we're doing 8 reps on each side. So dead bug, this is kind of my home or my dead bug position, and I'm reaching out with opposite hand and foot, or I can reach out with same side hand and foot. But either way you slice it, I want each of those arms and legs to move 8 times. 4 sets through, non-timed, but try to minimize the rest that you take in between exercises without letting it affect how much weight you lift, okay? So I'm asking for a little bit of hustle, but this is definitely not for time, okay? That's it for today. I hope you guys have a great one, and I'll see you on Thursday.